You are listening to the Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. In every episode, our goal is to help, inspire, and celebrate authors' journey to publication by reading and critiquing query letters, then tackle a writing topic we hope you find helpful. All right, hey guys, welcome back to Two Writers Walk Into a Bar. Ken, this is actually our 10th episode, not
Wow.
counting our bonus. Welcome to our 10th episode. We're in the double digits.
Already? Shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool. So welcome back, guys. We had pretty fun. I think it was kind of fun. Well, maybe not fun, maybe more informational. As I started thinking about that we haven't really talked about how to write a query. So we're going to talk about that today. But
Oh,
of
yeah.
course, first, we always start off with what are you drinking?
I am drinking my own concoction. I call it a tequila sunshine.
Nice.
And it's
Ooh.
tequila, Sprite, and Orange Crush.
Oh, damn. That
And I'm
sounds
drinking
good.
Don Julio 70
Nice. Very nice.
Blanco. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now you're putting my drink to shame. I'm
Sorry.
just having a glass of red wine.
Ah. See, mine's fancy a little bit, but that's pretty cool too. I love red wine, so.
It's actually the Dracula wine bottle, so I'm drinking that. So
Oh,
cheers
hell yeah.
tonight. I feel like I needed red wine tonight.
Nice.
Where I was just updating Ken on my week. I had a really weird week. It was a week that I wish to forget. But it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, you're good. We're good. We're still good.
We're still
Yeah.
here. We're still here, guys.
Yeah.
We are still in the query trenches.
Yes, we are.
We're still in the trenches together with you guys. Oh my god. I really thought that I was going to get out of it, but you know what? I'm still here. Whatever.
Yeah, we're here.
It's fine. It's fine. Oh my god, I can't. I'm looking forward to the day when Ken's like, "Guess what, guys? I'm not in the trenches anymore."
I know, I can't wait. That's gonna be
Me
such a
too.
great day.
Yes, I
Hopefully
agree.
soon.
Yes,
Hopefully soon.
period.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so we do have a query today. We have a topic we're going to discuss. Like I said, we're going to talk about query because it dawned on me that we've never actually talked about how to write a query letter.
Pretty important.
So, yeah, and what we discovered last week, Ken discovered like it's pretty friggin' important to
Yeah.
have a good query letter. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into the letter that we have. She didn't share with us where we can find her on social media. I found her on a Facebook group. Her name is Rachel. So I'm gonna go into the query and then we'll talk about the first pages um, and see if we can give her some feedback. Okay, so here is the query letter, guys. Dear agent. And then she puts personalization to agent here. She kind of cut that out, which is fine. And it says, I'm seeking representation for my 95,000 YA fantasy, redacted. 18-year-old Sasha Clems runs at the beach each day and then heads off to the first of 4 jobs because she will have enough money to help with the family mortgage and pay for college next fall. One morning, her run leads her to a dead sea dragon. Its magic deposited in the sand in the form of a basketball sized jewel. The last time this happened, the jewel sold in the high 9 figures, but only after a kidnapping, 3 deaths, and an international manhunt by the Magic Handlers Alliance. Handlers use magical creatures' jewels to create spell books, the basis of all human magic. Sasha will only get rich if she can hold on to her jewel. She embarks on a planes, trains, and automobiles cross-country chase to get to the one person she trusts to auction it off. Along for the ride are 3 Yorkies she accidentally, sort of, kidnaps and a hot handler boy who visits her in dreams to help, but also to pressure her into giving the jewel to him, of course. Along the way, she learns the dead sea dragon was the last remaining one on the planet. And the jewel she carries, it's not just the creature's magic, but also its reproductive DNA. Sasha holds the entire species in her hands. Some things might just be more important than money. Maybe? Sasha really wants to be rich. Plus, she's still got the handlers chasing her, and they don't care about the sea dragons. It's a good thing Sasha knows how to run. And she says, bio here. She redacted for her privacy. Thank you. Okay. So I have a couple questions and then I will talk about things that you can fix. Um, One of the things is you say here that the last time this happened, the jewels sold in the high nine figures. Why is the alliance not watching the beaches if this has happened before? I feel like they would probably have people checking to see if these sea dragons leave more of their magic, but maybe it's there, it's just not showing up. But there's just a question I had. Another question I had was at the end here, it says, plus she still got the handlers chasing her and they don't care about the sea dragons. Why do they not care if they need or use their magic and it is the basis of all the human magic? I was just a little confused by that. I feel like the handlers should care, if that's how they get their magic in your world that you created. So I don't know. Those are just things, questions that popped up at me, and maybe you feel differently, but those were things I just kind of snagged on a little bit. And one of the other things that I wanted to say was you don't start off with the hook. One thing that we always say here on Two Writers Walk Into a Bar is you really need to start this query with a hook. And a hook is an attention grabbing statement or question to entice the agent to want to stop and read the rest of the story. You start off your query with 18-year-old Sasha Clems runs at the beach each day and then heads off to the first of four jobs. Um, I mean, that's great, but I don't think it's not it's not grabbing me. You know, it's not grabbing me to where I want to find out what's going to happen next.
That
And
could
so
start
you
your second paragraph, possibly.
right.
That would be good, but
Mhm.
you need something above that to really pull them in, and it's just like there's nothing there to, like, pull the agent in right now.
Yes. So, and we probably would learn that about Sasha, like he said in that second paragraph. But really, what you want to do is start off with this really amazing hook that what your book is about so that the agent is going to continue to read. Because if you listen to our episode last week, we talk about how I think it's like as high as 95% or higher, agents will skip your reading your material if you don't hook them by the query. So you really want to start off strong. You want to just really just get them right away.
Well,
And then
the query is what they take to the publisher, to the editors at the publishers. They need that, to be able to
yes,
sell it to the publisher. So it's, like, immensely important to hook it with
yes.
that.
Yeah, that's why it's always good to start off with that hook right away. Just get it out there as soon as you can. And then the first paragraph, you have it, I think, at the bottom. At the very bottom, you say Sasha really wants to be rich. I'm guessing that's her desire, because you definitely want to start off with, 18-year-old Sasha has always wanted whatever it is to be rich in your case, right? You want to tell us what she wants more than anything before the story starts. So if you set up in the beginning that, she's working 4 jobs, she has to, I don't know, maybe she has to take care of her family, help pay the bills or whatever, and she's tired of working. She's tired of these 4 jobs. She just wants to live a nice, comfortable life with some money, you know,
Yeah.
set that up for us, set that up that she wants that, she wants to be rich, tired of working, whatever it is, so that when she finds this sea dragon magic, it's like, oh, she's finally getting what she wants. She's discovered this thing that, it's going to help her, right? It's going to help her to fulfill that desire. Okay. So, I would say in that first paragraph, really hone in on her why, I mean, you do say here, like, okay, so she goes and she has 4 jobs because she has enough money to pay with the family mortgage and pay for college next fall. You do have that in parentheses, which I'm not sure why you have that in parentheses. I think that you could just rewrite it without the parentheses, just make it as a statement. Just make it as
Yep.
a sentence. Just put it out there. She's tired of working 4 jobs. She's tired of having to help pay the mortgage. She's tired that, she's has to save up for college, whatever it is. So that's the setup. That's what she wants. And the reason why she wants it. So you do have that there. I would just sort of move it, because you have it at the very bottom. Sasha really wants to be rich. I would just move that to the top with explaining that her 4 jobs and everything else. And then your second paragraph, then you want to go into the main conflict. What's the main conflict that's happening and why does she need to get involved? Okay. So the main conflict is, okay, she finds this egg and then she has this magical alliance. What was it? The magic alliance, or
The
magic
handlers.
the Magic Handlers
Yeah.
Alliance. So obviously they want the magic. So that's clear, right? And then you do set up, like, obviously the last time this happened, they're not above kidnapping, they're not above murder, and putting out this international manhunt. So that's good. I just think that the question I had was, I wasn't sure why the alliance wasn't watching these beaches. I feel like maybe it would be like they would be watching it to make sure that some of this magic isn't deposited without them knowing. But again, maybe it's there. It just didn't show up in the query. So you want to focus on your main conflict and then why she needs to get involved, and also hint a little bit as to her arc. Because remember, storytelling is about that arc of your character. You have to have it. And then talk about the obstacles that she's going to have to face, the stakes that she will have to overcome. And then you want to end it with that impossible dilemma. And that impossible dilemma is, usually in the form of like, your main character must choose this or this before this big bad thing happens, right? That's typically how we end it. So I would maybe go and restructure that a little bit and just focus more on making it real clear. Um, and then also the comps, you only have one comp, which is plane, trains, and automobiles. And that was a movie from the 80s. If this is a YA book, your YA reader doesn't know what that movie is. They don't know. Like, I know, I'm a Gen X. I know that movie. I love that movie.
Great movie, but yes.
Yes. But if you are trying to appeal to today's teenager, they're not going to know what that is. So you really, really want to pick comps, and you really want at least 2 book comps current within, I think, was it 5 years? Something,
Yeah,
or
within
somewhere
5
around
years
there.
or nothing at all from what I've been hearing, but, you know,
It's
either
always, I
one,
mean, yeah.
recent or none.
Yeah, and if you can find a comp, that's good, but definitely want a current comp if you're
Yeah,
gonna do a comp. You
yeah,
don't want something that's too old that,
like
eh
20 years ago and yeah, like
yeah, like,
yeah,
that movie came out in the 80s. My kids don't even know what that movie is. If I were to
mine
ask
either.
about them, they'd probably be like, "I don't know."
The hell is
So,
that? Yeah.
yeah. So you definitely wanna pick a little more of a current comp
And
if you wanna do comp.
some of the agents might not even know what that movie is. A lot of they,
Yeah,
they could be in their 20s.
there's a lot of young agents right now. Yes, exactly. So you definitely, I would pick something different, or like Ken says, not. We haven't done we were gonna do some research into that. We haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But again, if you are gonna use a comp, use something that's a little bit more current. Um, let's see. Um, I think I think that was all I had. Did you want to add anything, Ken, for the query?
For the query, the brackets threw me off a little bit. The handlers not caring about the dragons jumped out at me.
Mhm.
Um, because I mean, I think I know what she's getting at. As she was getting at, which I shouldn't have to guess. I shouldn't have
Mhm.
guesswork in a query. That might be a problem, but I'm assuming that she doesn't care about the dragon's well-being, is what she was trying to get at, or
Oh,
continued
okay.
survival. Versus, I think they care about the magic, obviously,
Right.
or you know, whatever. But that, and then
Yeah, because if they run out of that magic source, like, I would feel like they
yeah,
wouldn't wanna run out of that magic source if she's holding that DNA, that the last
yeah.
living thing.
But
I
then
feel like,
maybe they don't need it after this. Maybe this is the
Maybe?
final
Mhm.
one to give them all power. We don't know that. You never know how it goes.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
but the it is fiction and fantasies. But the big thing is a hook. That's the biggest thing I see
Yes.
missing. Like
Yes.
saying that a girl wants to buy stuff and works 4 jobs or whatever. Like that's people are like, okay, that's cool and all, but that's the biggest thing that jumps out at me. The biggest one out of all of them is that you need a hook
Yeah, exactly. I would agree
at the
too.
beginning.
And like I said, a hook is an attention grabbing statement that to entice that agent to just want to keep reading. What is it's I know it's hard because you have to sort of condense that your book into basically one sentence, maybe
Yeah,
of what the actual story is about. So it's a girl, it's a girl, maybe she's a hardworking girl who's tired of working 4 jobs. I don't know. Sounds to
off
me like
off.
like
Sorry to interrupt. Off the
yeah.
top of my head, you could even do something like when a blank character
Mhm.
uh is looking. Hold on, let me rethink that. Give me a sec. One sec. Let's see.
Well, because you want to say what's her problem, right? She's
Yeah,
tired. She's tired of being poor.
yeah.
She's tired of working 4 jobs. Like
Yes, when a poor girl that's tired of blah 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 finds a sea dragon, you know,
Mhm.
egg on the
with
beach
with magic,
with magic, like then
it's
that
her
like
ticket. It's her
yeah,
ticket to, millions, or it's like she's like she won
something.
the
Yeah,
lottery. It's
yeah,
like winning the lottery. I mean, literally, she finds this
something along.
magical thing that she can go sell on the black market for a lot of money, and it would
Yeah,
make her have a very comfortable life. But it comes with a price, right? Like obviously, her life is going to be threatened. She could be kidnapped. She could be murdered. She
yeah,
could be there's a manhunt that says like it looks like there's a manhunt, an international manhunt, which means maybe assassins are going to come after her. Who knows?
yeah,
So yeah, and that sounds amazing.
yeah.
That
That sounds
sounds
cool as hell.
amazing,
Yeah,
but it's just not in the query. I'm just not getting that. I'm just getting that a girl likes to run before she goes to work and stumbles on this magic. But it's so much more than that. And I think that you could restructure this to really just make it so enticing and exciting that that the age is going to want to read it.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I would go in and fix those. Just kind of focus on that hook. I don't know if the questions that we had about the sea dragon and about the Alliance March to the Beach, if that's not an issue, or if it is and you have an answer to it, but in your book it's just not showing up here. Probably mention it because that was just something that snagged on, like it just kind of tripped on a little bit. It's
yeah,
like, how did she stumble upon this? This happened before. Why wouldn't they want to keep tabs on like
yeah,
magic that's deposited left over? So just a few things, but I think you have all the elements there. It's just sort of restructuring and then adding that hook. And I think you're on your way.
yeah.
So Rachel sent us her first 3 pages. So I want to talk about her first 3 pages. Her first 3 pages is basically her main character, which her name is Sasha, right? Sasha
Sasha
is run.
Clemens.
Mhm. She's running. She's running on the beach. She's talking about she gives us a description of what she's wearing. And I will say that one thing that both Ken and I kind of tripped on was that you mentioned she mentions $500 running shoes. I don't know. I just and Ken felt like a sharp specific would work best. Like, think of a name brand shoe that's expensive that you would pay. I think what are those shoes called? No. I can't remember the name of the shoe. I think my husband bought some. They were like $250 or something like that. There was like
Yeah,
the Hoku or Hoko. I don't remember what they're called.
it Hoka, I believe.
Hoka,
Hoka.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
Yes. And yeah, like so I think Ken was right by saying like give the name of the shoe instead of the price.
yeah,
Instead of like a $500 running shoe. Um I feel like putting a name out there, a designer brand name, even if you want to fake make one up
yeah. Make
and
one up.
just make one up and just say, and my designer,
Yeah.
whatever the shoe is,
Or
brand.
use a real one too, like, either
Or
or.
yeah, or use a real one. Either way, that's 500 instead of just saying $500. The other thing was you have a lot of parentheses in this, the first pages that I think Ken and I both sort of felt that you could just change them into sentences, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they could just be sentences. I kinda stumbled while reading them because it kinda threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, I will say my advice, Rachel, is to read this out loud. Read it out loud to yourself. I know Ken likes to use a program. You like to use a free program. There's plenty of free programs online that will
Text-to-speech
read.
reader.
Yes,
Yes.
a text to speech reader and listen to it, or either you could either do that or listen to. I like to read my stuff out loud. If I find myself tripping on my sentences or words, then I know that I need to go back and fix those sentences. Like they're just not. There should be
Yeah,
a rhythm. There should be a nice smooth rhythm to your writing. And I will say that when I was reading this, I did trip up a little bit on some of the sentences. I think it may have been the parentheses, but there was just other things that I felt like you could probably do with some edits,
for
um,
sure.
to just clean this up and get it really nice and clean for that agent. Doesn't have to be perfect. They're not looking for perfection. But remember, this is a tough market. It's a tough, competitive market. One of the examples that I love that Brandon Sanderson gave in one of his classes, he gave this wonderful, wonderful example that I use for myself. And he had said that if he's teaching, I think at Utah University, and he
Yeah.
said that if he had
BYU.
asked, yes, mhm,
Yeah, sorry.
that if he had asked, it's okay, if he had asked a piano player to step up and play a piano, like imagine the grand piano up on stage, and he invites this piano player who's been practicing every day for a year. Like for a year, he spends hours and hours practicing and practicing, and he goes up and he plays this beautiful song. It's clean, it's good, does a great job. And then he invites another piano player who's been playing for 20 years. And when he gets on the piano, he just blows them away. You know, the skills that he has, that he get the beautiful, the beauty of it, right? So you kind of want to think of your writing like that as well, because an agent's going to have someone who's been writing for a year for someone who's been writing for maybe 3 to 5 years, whatever, right? So there's definitely going to be a level there, a difference in the level of writing. So you want to make sure that your first pages are as clean as crisp as possible, especially those first few pages that they ask
Yeah,
for, because those are the pages that you're hoping that they're going to read and that they're going to want to request more from you. So I would suggest maybe going back and just reading this out loud or do the text to speech, to see how it reads. If it feels clunky, if it feels like, or you're tripping over your words, then maybe go in and just sort of, you know, do an edit, do another edit, another pass.
yeah, and I feel like it's good, but it's also probably a little rushed too, reading it.
Yes.
Um, there's a couple spots where you could definitely go into more description and
Hmm.
kinda live in the moment a little bit more.
Hmm.
Explore her thoughts on where she is, describe where she is. I have one line in particular that stuck out to me. Um, it reads, I parked in the sand strewn lot, hid my keys under my seat, and hiked over the dunes to the water. It was my favorite time of day, my favorite activity of the day. That's the line. What was her favorite time of day? Like, describe it. How's the sun?
Hmm.
How's the waves? Like you want readers want to be in the scene. They
Yeah.
want to feel where you're at, what she's doing, like the sand on her feet, the smell of corn dogs cooking from the from the shack
Yeah.
down on the beach, whatever, man,
Yeah.
people around her. And I
Those
feel
sharp
like it's
specifics, bring us into the moment.
yeah, I feel like it's just missing just a little bit of that there, in spots,
Hmm. And that's
and then
Ken's strong point.
it is, yeah. And then also rushing, it feels a little rushed. She goes to
Hmm.
the beach, she loves it, this is my favorite time. Then she runs, then she does this. Hi, Indy. We all hear you.
Hi, girl.
Yeah. And then so yeah. So those are the things that I would say could be cleaned up for sure. But overall, it's not bad. It's good. Like, it's a really good
Yeah,
base to work from,
it's good.
for sure.
I wanna add to Rachel, one thing I noticed, just because we know from the query that she's working these 4 jobs, she's having to pay rent, I don't get that in her interiority too much. Other than that, she had her dad, a grandpa, and a brother and a brother-in-law help to pay for her shoes, but I'm not getting that feeling of, she's tired of working 4 jobs, she's tired of never having any money. Maybe she wants to, I don't know, what does she wanna do with that money? Does she wanna travel? I mean, obviously, I know she wants to stop working, but what else? Does she wanna travel? Does she wanna see the world? I'm not getting any of that at all. I mean, you're putting us in the scene of her getting ready to run on the beach, which I love because, she's running in the Monterey Bay, and that's where I'm from, so, of course, I love it already. But I would like a little bit more of that interiority of
Yeah,
her thinking like, money would change all of her problems. Maybe money will fix all her problems, right?
yeah,
Because that's what she wants. She's like, maybe she's thinking about this job. Maybe she's thinking of the next job she has to go to. Maybe she's thinking of quitting one of her jobs, but she's thinking, but I can't because, I have to, the mortgage is due. Car payments due, whatever, right?
yeah,
I'm not getting that feeling of what she wants. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting that. I would love to be more in her mind of her just so tired of working and tired of providing and just wanting to
yeah.
just have that carefree life without having to work 4 jobs. I
Yeah,
think that
for sure. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it's okay. It's okay.
missing introspection for sure too
Yes,
on that too. So
yes.
sorry, go ahead.
So, yeah, no worries. So I feel like this is a lot of description of where she's at and what she's wearing, but I would really love to connect that with what she's thinking and what she's
Yes,
feeling.
yes,
Does she run because it's the only thing that disconnects her from her job? Is she running because she has all this pent up anger and it's like the only thing that
yeah,
helps her just get that out, Is she angry? Why is she running every day before she goes to work 4 jobs? Because I probably wouldn't wanna go running if I had 4 jobs in the morning. I wouldn't wanna wake up at, like, 4 o'clock in the morning, run for an hour, and then go work 4 jobs. So, I wanna know why the heck is she running? Why is
for
she
real.
running on the beach
Yeah.
if she has 4 jobs? So and I'm sure you have that there in your book. It's just
You
not
probably
shown.
know why. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
But
But,
we don't.
exactly. So I would love to know why. I mean, I work full time. Ken works full time. We're trying to write. We do our podcast. Like, we're busy. I would love to not have to work, and I would love to have enough money so I can
Oh no.
do
Yeah.
all of this. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's a relatable thing already. That's already relatable. I just feel like you could focus more on that and really get us to understand why she's doing the things she does and, like the running, like why, like you couldn't catch me at 4 o'clock in the morning running,
Yeah.
maybe I might wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to do my writing, I guess, because that's it's going to get me to the goal of me being published, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure what her running early is, and I'm like I said, I'm sure it's there. So
It's, I'm
just
sure it's there, but what drives her to run when
yes,
she's got to be exhausted? We need to know that thoughts.
yeah, I
So
would love that.
just description, put us in the scene so we
Mhm.
can feel where we are, hear, smell, all the senses, and then let us know what the hell she's thinking. Why the hell is she up this early running?
That
Like, it's such a cool
emotional,
idea for a story.
yeah, that
Like,
emotional connection.
yeah, we need to know.
Yes.
We want to
Mhm.
know. We need to
Yes.
know.
We need to know. Tell us, tell us. So yeah, but overall, I mean, I think it's a great story. I love the idea of her finding this magic and like going on this journey of trying to deliver this thing so that she can do this auction. I feel like the auction would be like a off like the what do you call it, black market or something? I don't know what they call it,
Yeah,
but like, you know what I mean?
black
Like
market.
obviously, yeah, obviously it would be like the secret thing, right? Obviously. So maybe even focus more on like what's gonna after she sells it on the black market, what's gonna happen to her? Is she still gonna be I don't know. But anyway, we appreciate you sending us this information. If you go back and if you take our suggestions and you change your query letter, you're always open. We always encourage for you guys to send in another revision, and we'll look over it. We've had a couple of writers that have done that already, where they're like, "Hey, I changed this up. Do you mind looking at it again?" I don't mind. I'm sure Ken doesn't mind.
I don't mind at
But we
all.
don't mind because we want to help you guys. We're like I've always said, we're right there with you guys. We're trying to
Yeah,
get agented too. It's hard writing a query.
for
So
sure.
yeah, so if Rachel, if you make those changes, if you decide to make those changes, you can absolutely feel free to send it to us again. And it won't be on air. It'll just be like in a private email. So we won't have to go read it on air again unless you want us to. So Rachel did not share where we could find her on social media. I did, however, find her in a Facebook group. I joined a couple writing groups on there. So, and just kind of like put the feelers out like, hey, we critique queries.
Yeah.
And she turned it in. So anyway, Rachel, thank you so much for sending us your query and your first pages. We wish you all the best and all the luck in the world to get picked up.
Oh yeah.
I definitely feel like your story is definitely an interesting one. I'm definitely interested, and I think you would have a chance if you could just really clean up that query, get a hook on that query so that the agent can request the rest of the materials.
Take a
But yeah,
moment and live in that moment.
yes.
Live in that
And
moment.
Rachel, don't feel bad because Ken's constantly telling me that when he critiques my work. Like he's always telling me, "Put me in the moment, girl." Like that's too
Yes.
fast.
Yes. Let me breathe in that moment for a minute, you know.
Yes, yes. So anyway, thank you so much, Rachel. We wish you all the best,
Thanks.
and we look forward to hearing back from you.
For sure.
Okay. So, Ken, before we go into our little topic, are you reading anything new? What are you still reading? Did you do any writing this week?
I am listening to The Killing Floor by Lee Child, which
Okay.
is the Jack Reacher novels. If anybody knows that they have
Okay.
this TV show on Prime.
Hey, writer friends. Querying is hard, and putting together a query letter is even harder. We want to help, so send us your query letter and first 3 pages to two writers in a bar at gmail.com, and we'll query on air. And don't forget to tell us where we can find you on social media so we can share it with all our listeners. We want to help, inspire, and celebrate with you on your writing journey.
Um,
Oh, okay, yes.
yeah, Jack Reacher. Tom Cruise played him in a movie in like
Yep,
2014 or something like that.
yep.
But
I
yeah,
remember watching it. Yep.
yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm kind of enjoying that. I'm about halfway through the Jack Reacher, first Jack
All
Reacher, The
right.
Killing Floor by Lee
So
Child.
are you listening to some 2 books simultaneously?
No, I DNF'd the vampire book. I couldn't do it.
No!
I couldn't do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to tell me. You have to tell me everything, bro, because I mean, I had to really push. I don't, you guys, I don't DNF. I know I said that before. I
She
don't DNF.
doesn't DNF. I don't understand how you don't DNF.
I know I
Yeah,
can't, but I had to push through that and it was really hard.
like,
So I
I think he's a great writer, like Jay
yes.
Christopherson or whatever is a
Yes.
great writer. The book's cool.
Yes.
The bloodlines were cool.
Yes.
I love George R. R. Martin, so incest, I'll be okay. You know, George R. R. Martin, Cersei,
We'll
and Jaime
tolerate it
Lannister.
somewhat. Yeah.
We'll tolerate it because I love,
Somewhat.
yeah, that. But whatever. I just didn't give a shit. I just didn't care after, I'm
So
like,
the
yeah,
one of the things that I had struggled with, I don't know how far you got, but I remember like the first 100 pages, I was
yeah.
starting to. So if you've read this, great. If you liked it, great. If you didn't, then you
Oh,
probably know
yeah.
what we're
It's
talking
all
about.
subjective.
But yes, exactly. But like they kept talking about how great he was with this sword for like 100 pages.
Yeah,
And I was like, when do we get to see this in action? Like, I want to see this in action. Like, I want to, like, he kept talking about how great he was and the sword and this. And I was just like, but it wasn't happening. And I was just like, oh, how
yeah.
long is this going to take? Like,
Yeah, he's like, "I have this magical ant that can lift 1,000 tons, but you can't see it."
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's like, and then when he finally does, it's like towards the end. And I was just like, it was a little underwhelming. But I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's also not it's not my style of book either, Let's put
Okay.
that out there. It's not my
Okay.
genre either.
Okay.
It was a suggestion, so
My bad.
from yours truly, you. No, you're fine. It was good. The writing
Uh,
was good. Like it
yes.
just didn't.
I
It just
will say
grab
that the
me.
writing was beautiful, okay?
Beautiful.
I will say, like, I was like, "Man, if I could write sentences this good, damn." But it fell flat. It fell flat for
Yeah,
me, and it
I'm
was
sure.
boring.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sure if there was another story, maybe about a different subject, his writing style would. I could mesh with that for sure. It's just I don't give a shit about that vampire.
So, one thing that I kinda took, I kind of felt like it was more of like an origins story because
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a trilogy, okay? So,
Yeah.
by the end of the book, this is a spoiler, guys. If you're planning on reading this, I'm so sorry, but I'm about to spoil it.
So leave.
By
Woo, woo, get the
Yeah,
hell out.
yeah.
Woo.
Spoiler. He does end up escaping, right? He goes into the whole book is his history, where he came from, the people that he lost, and all these things, and then at the end he escapes because he's being held prisoner at the beginning. So it's supposed to be like a trilogy. So I looked at this book as like the origins story, like,
Yeah.
and the only way that I can describe it is the Dark Knight, the
Yeah.
Batman. I don't know if you know, the first movie was a little slow. I mean, it was good. Like I love the
It's
Dark Knight.
great.
Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was a little bit slow. It was kind of like the origin story. I think they did the same thing with Superman as well. The first Superman was kind of slow. It was like the origin story, right? And so I guess I was really hoping that by book two, I'm hoping that it kind of really picks up.
You're not talking about our Superman, are you? Christopher Reeve.
No, not Christopher Reeve. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I love Henry Cavill,
My man.
but he's not my Superman.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Christopher Reeves is always my
I'm so
Superman.
sorry. I love Christopher Reeve too, but
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, like,
I love that guy. I love him in The Witcher and,
same.
yeah,
He's such a good eye candy. But I would say that when I first watched the Superman movie, it moved a little slow, whatever. It wasn't,
yeah,
I don't know. So anyway, I kind of figured that the first Empire of the Vampire was kind of like that, and I'm hoping that
yeah,
the second book it picks up, which is why I sort of pushed through. But I'm still not sure if I'm gonna get the second book.
yeah, I feel you. It's just not my style, like,
How far did you get?
I got, like, 5 or 6 hours into it. And
Oh,
then
okay.
there's some constraints here. If I owned the audiobook or the physical book, there's a chance I might have continued on. But when it's been your 21 days borrowing it from Libby and they're like, "Hey, we're
Oh, yeah.
taking it back," and there's people waiting and you can't I'm like, "Screw it."
Okay, bye. Yeah, mhm. I get that.
Yeah. And
I get it. Okay.
it was good. It was okay. I don't know. Like video games, I never played like the Blood Origin, like those vampire games, and it kinda reminded me of that. They just not my style, my genre.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you giving it a listen.
Yeah, I tried.
I appreciate that. So, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
And I believe I had warned you too. I believe I told you like it was really hard.
you warned me, and I tried, I really did. 6 hours of listening.
Ugh,
That's
yeah, that's a long time, bruh. You
yeah,
got pretty far, but
yeah.
okay. Well, anyway, I'm not reading anything at the moment. I suck, you guys. I literally suck. Okay, I don't know. Well, this week was really tough. This past, so I lost my brother in 21. His birthday was on the 10th, and I was like just feeling really down. I had this incident at work, and then I had a rejection from an agent who had my book for like I think 4 months, 5 months, something like that. And
Brutal.
so I just had like a really shitty week. Okay. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying I'm not using it as an excuse. I just haven't been able to really sit down and read.
yeah.
So I apologize. I did get a little bit of writing in. I think I'm at 20,000 words on my
Nice.
current book, but I kind of want to dump it.
Oh, wow.
I kind of want to like just start a new story.
Yeah,
I don't know, cause like, NaNoWriMo is coming up, okay, and I usually do write for NaNoWriMo. I usually start a whole new book in November,
yeah,
and I have a new idea that I've been wanting to tackle, and so part of me is just like, if I can't get any more progress made in this current book by the end of the
yeah,
month, I'm probably gonna ditch it, which I hate though, because it's the same thing why I can't DNF. I can't quit a fucking book,
yeah.
but I'm just like, I don't know, but anyway.
I
I
don't think
don't
you
know.
should. I like that one. I know,
I know. I was gonna send you my first chapter to see what you think, if you
Yeah,
felt that where I was going was interesting enough. I'm not sure.
yeah,
I read it to my daughter. She loves it. She's 16, so she's about the age of the
yeah,
readers that would, be interested. But anyway,
yeah.
how far
Oh,
are
I
you
got
along? Oh yeah,
I'm at 19,000, by the way. I hit
nice.
19K
Okay, so
today.
we're like
Um,
right there.
I got some new Raycons. There it is.
Oh, nice. What
Headphones,
are those?
so I
Headphones?
headphones, wireless Bluetooth, so I can listen to my
Oh,
audiobooks while I walk
at
around
work.
work.
Oh,
So
cool.
now
Nice.
I'm yeah, it's so nice, and it has, they have awareness mode so I can hear what's going on outside of the audiobook too.
Oh, that's
So it's
cool.
not dangerous working around all the
Okay, yeah,
forces.
because I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you might wanna know hear what's going on at work.
No, I have the awareness mode on so I can hear,
That
like,
is so
everything.
cool.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Nice.
It's upped my
Wow,
audiobook game,
if they
so
wanna be a sponsor, that'd be
I
fantastic.
know, right? I love these Raycons. They're
Period.
sweet.
You probably need to, like, do, like, an Instagram reel and tag them or something, I don't
I
know.
should. I probably
I'm
should.
just putting it out there.
Maybe I will.
All right, guys. So I know that we have a few minutes left. We're already at 40 minutes. Okay.
Oh, damn.
I just want to talk briefly about how to write a query letter because I know that we're out here critiquing your query letters, but we're not talking about how to actually write a query letter.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Query Shark. Are you familiar with Query Shark?
Yes.
Ken? Okay. Yes. So Query Shark basically is a agent. Her name is Janet Reed. She has a blog, and if you send her your query letter, she critiques it. She doesn't do so much today. She has tons and tons and tons that she has queried. They're on her blog. So if she does anything current, it's because it's something that she can teach her blog followers, something new, right? But typically
Yeah.
she hasn't really been posting much, but there's so many there that you can go back and read. But
The
she does
backlog, yeah.
have yes. And she does have like a template that she has provided. And so I'm going to talk about that to sort of explain when Ken and I talk about like the 3 paragraphs, these are what these paragraphs should like entail. So obviously, this is the body of the query. This is not counting your bio at the end, and it's not counting the hook, the comps, the word count. This is like the actual body of the
The
query. Okay.
actual yeah, yeah,
Yes. So don't skip on those things. Make sure you have, your genre, how many words, the hook, the comps, and then at the end, of course, put your bio.
yeah,
But like I said, this is just the body of the query.
yeah,
So one of the things that she talks about is the first thing you should be telling in the query is what does your protagonist want? Okay, you have to have that in your query letter. Your 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 main character wants something in this life, whatever it is. You need to tell us what that is, okay? Because that's the plot of your story because the rest of your story is taking that away from them in some way through like the conflicts and all the things, right? So, and then so the next thing is so it's what does your protagonist want? What's keeping them from getting it, right? That's the conflict. What is keeping them from getting what they want? So if we're
yeah,
talking about the query that we read earlier, her character wants to be rich, and what's keeping her from getting it is the magical alliance because they want the magic for themselves, right? But she could sell it on the black market. I'm assuming the black market for a lot of money and get rich and finally be able to, like, get what she wants because she wants to be rich.
yeah,
And so obviously that alliance is keeping her from getting it, is making it difficult for her to find the person that she can auction this thing off, right?
yeah,
And then what choice decision does your character face, right? Why does why does your character have to get involved in this thing, right? So she finds this magical I'm going to call it an egg for now. It's not an egg. I think she called it a jewel actually. if we're going back to the query that we just read.
Yeah.
She finds it, okay, so what's her choice and why does she have to, because she wants to be rich. She knows she's gonna make her rich, right?
Yeah.
And also it probably is going to provide her, it's gonna provide her family with maybe a safer home, a safer place to live. I don't know, maybe her dad or family member is sick. It'll help in some way, right? So she has to do this because not only does she want to be rich, but also it's going to help her. It's something that she has to choose to do.
Yeah.
There's another point to it. Not just that she wants it, but also there's this other thing. And then what terrible thing will happen if he or she chooses A, and then what terrible thing will happen if he does it? And that's usually the impossible dilemma. So when we talk about the impossible dilemma, that's what we're talking about, right? So it's like your main character must choose this, like, facing their inner demon, whatever that is, or facing the scary outer conflict before this big bad consequence stake thing happens, right? What's
Yeah.
the consequence? What's the stake? What's going to happen if they can't overcome that obstacle? I hope this is making sense.
It does.
Ken,
I
if it's just, I mean, it's, she even has another, and she has another form, okay? So she has this another form where you can actually fill in the blank, but I'll
yeah.
obviously elaborate. So what she says here is, this is another form of saying the same thing that I just said, but you're just going to fill in the blank. And it's, the main character must decide whether to blank. If she or he decides to do this, the consequences slash outcome slash peril he or she faces. And then if she or he decides not to do this, the consequence slash outcome peril slash that he faces are.
Yeah.
Does she need to be let out again?
No. What,
Oh,
baby
okay.
girl?
She just wants your attention.
She was just saying hi.
So I hope that's helpful, you guys. I I typically use that template, and I know I have talked to Ken about it too. And
Yeah.
so when I critique queries, that's how I do it. So paragraph one is basically introducing your main character, which you should absolutely do. We got to know their age, we got to know their name. Okay. Then we have to know, what do they want more than anything before the story even starts. So going back to this query that we just read, we
Yeah.
know that she wants to be rich. And then she happens to just stumble upon this thing that could make her rich, right?
Yeah.
But if you set it up before that, what they want, okay, and then you have to connect their desire to this like deep emotional wound. Why does she want to be rich? Because
Yeah.
she's freaking tired. Because maybe she can pay for the medical bills for her dad, or
Yeah.
maybe she can provide a better home, get him out of the ghetto and live in a nicer area, like maybe they're living in the slums or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. Something that's going to connect her so that she, in her mind, she wants to be rich because of, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to put what is in the way of them getting what they want. And as a writer, we should be taking that away from them. I know it sounds terrible, but that's our job as the writer. Don't give them what they want.
Yeah.
You have to make it really hard for them. Why do we make it hard for them? Because there's an arc that they have to go through. That's like the point of the story, is they start off as this one person. By the end of the story, they're completely different. They've just done a
Yeah.
180, they've changed, they've bettered themselves. Or if you go in the opposite direction, they start off as the hero and end up as the villain, which I personally love.
Yeah. Those are great for
But I
sure.
mean, there there should be an arc there, guys. And there should be a hint of that in the query, because the agent's going to want to look for that too. They're
Yeah.
looking for that. And then you want to introduce your main conflict and show how it affects your main character and why they have to get involved. So paragraph one, you're introducing their character. What do they want? Who's keeping them from getting it? Paragraph two is, what's the main conflict? Why do they have to get involved? You know what I mean? How does it affect them? And then the last paragraph is showing the stakes. What are the stakes? You know, and you want to give a couple of examples of the obstacles they have to face. Um, like for example, the query that we just read, there's
Yeah.
probably an international manhunt on her. Maybe there's a bounty on her. Maybe they try to kill her along the way and she escaped or whatever, right? So you want to put obviously those are the stakes. Like if she doesn't get to sell this jewel of magic, filled of magic, you know, she's gonna die essentially, right? I mean, basically. And then have, of course, end it with that impossible dilemma. They have to do this or this before this bad thing happens. And I know most agents prefer you not to state it as a question, but state it as like make it a statement.
Yeah. They
So you're
hate
making her
rhetorical questions.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And even in the pages, I had an agent say, don't ask, don't have your character asking the questions because the reader, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they would prefer for you to make those statements. So I hope that's helpful.
And and one quick thing with hooks too is you wanna make
Mhm,
them punchy as hell. Unique
mhm.
selling point, you know, the heart of your story into that line. And all the great stories that have been told, you can really break them down to a single line, you know what I mean? And then from there, you can really find your hook. Like Jurassic Park, a dinosaur theme park goes awry. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
you know, 13, the serial killer is on trial, he's on the jury. Or
Yep.
Star Wars, when a princess falls into mortal danger, a young man must find his force to defeat an evil galactic empire. Like, find your story. What is your story? And then from
Mhm.
there, you can you can do all these little tricks. Like, there's the shock angle, you know, all that, but you got to get the heart of your story
Yes. And
um,
you know what? You're
in
so
that hook.
right. Looking up examples of popular movies like Star Wars, most people have watched Star Wars, most people have watched Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Um, Going up and looking up the log line and the hook or the hook, you can even
yeah,
Google it.
yeah,
That will help you to figure out how to write one for your story because you know your
exactly.
story better than us. Like, you
Yeah,
know, we can only give an example of a hook,
yeah,
but that's not, you know, obviously it's not your hook. But
yeah.
yeah. So, and the hook again, you guys, so, so important.
And the hardest one of all, this is the hardest fact of all that you have to hate it. If you go through and try to break down your story to a single line and you're having trouble and you can't really do it or you can't make that hook exciting, as much as I hate to say it, maybe the book isn't marketable. Maybe the story you decide to tell, while maybe cool and you love it and people may love it, there goes my dog, Indiana Jones. Then maybe it's not marketable.
Right, because the reason why agents ask for a hook is because that's what they take to the editor. They take your hook. Okay, so yeah, I wanna say was, the agent's gonna take that hook to an editor. That's how they sell it.
Literally,
Um, yes, and also it really does help the agent see that you know how to market your book, because as we all know, even though we become traditionally published, we still have to market, our book to, you know, or we should anyway.
yeah.
But, so it's helpful to have that hook. So that's why we're always talking about that hook, and that's why it's important. And if you, maybe we can do an episode on how to write a hook or even a log line. I know there's some, interesting things on how to write a log line that's important.
Kind of the same thing, right?
It's the same
Like,
thing, yes.
close. They're
Y
related for
mhm,
sure.
'cause log lines are what they use for movies,
Yeah,
but it's basically the same thing, for books, and it's
yeah.
important. It's important.
Like, you need to grab them. That's what they're gonna like. The reason why they read the query and why the query is so important is because they literally read that and be like, "Can I show this to an editor and blow their socks off?" If
Yes.
not, they're like, "Pass,
Yes.
pass." Like, they don't even give a shit
Yes.
about your words, you know,
And
your pages.
also too, I don't know if people and I'm sure you guys know this, but just in case you don't, the reason why is that agents don't get paid until they sell the book. So if
exactly.
your book needs a lot of work, that's needs a lot of hours that they have to put in before they can even go out to talk to editors, that's another reason why they will pass, because essentially they're working for free and that's their time
Yeah,
that they have, there's value with that, right?
yeah,
So that's also another thing why you want to have those pages as clean as possible, so that the agent's thinking, okay, because the agent is thinking, how much work am I going to have to put into this before I send it to an editor?
yeah,
So that's the other thing too, is remember, agents don't get paid until they sell it. So
yeah,
no one wants to work for free.
yeah, yep.
They want to try to work as many as less hours as they can, so that, you know,
If you're a
so
plotter like you are, some even say before you even start a book, write the hook.
yeah,
Like it,
yep.
like for me that doesn't work because I have no freaking idea what my story is
Mhm,
gonna be.
mhm,
It's just surprise. But for you, someone
mhm,
like you that knows where you're going,
yep. And that's
write the hook, and if it you're like, holy shit, this is cool as hell. Then you got something, you know what I mean, on your
And that's
hands for the plotter.
exactly what I do, Ken. I
Yeah,
literally do think of my hook. Now that I've learned about that, I think, okay,
yeah,
what's the cool thing about this book, right?
yeah,
And can I do a hook right away? Yes,
yeah.
that's exactly what I do.
Hell yeah,
And if you're not a plotter, there's nothing wrong with that. Like Ken said, you're just gonna figure it out as you go along. You're just
yeah,
gonna do it at the end. You're gonna
yeah,
write your hook at the end of your book,
yeah.
and there's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with that. There's
No,
literally nothing wrong with that. So
no, not at all.
but anyway, I hope that this was helpful to you guys. And again, if you have questions, feel free to leave them under our Instagram or a comment under our YouTube. We will answer as best as we can. Or if you want to email us, maybe you, I don't know if you're still confused, whatever. Feel free to reach out. We'll try our
Yeah.
best to simplify it, because it is difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. We appreciate all of our listeners. We appreciate all of you writers sending us your queries and your first pages. We know how hard that is. We appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
And of course, we're wishing you guys all the best. And we ask that if you can just like and subscribe, leave a star rating. We'd love a 5-star rating if you want to. We'd be
Hell
happy
yeah.
to have it. But if you'd be willing to leave a star rating, a review, we would appreciate that. It just helps boost our podcast up so that others can find us. So next episode, we do have a guest coming on, and it's gonna be our Halloween episode.
Hell yeah. Should be cool.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll appear in costumes. I don't know. We'll probably talk of some Halloween related things. I haven't really planned it out yet. I'm thinking the wheels are turning and we'll figure it out. But it's going to be our Halloween episode. We're super excited. And we're excited for our guest. She has a book coming out on Halloween. So we're going to
Hell
talk
yeah.
about that with her. But yeah, so we look forward to you guys. I mean, look forward to that episode with you guys. And we hope you guys have a fantastic week. Get those words in. I know Ken and I are going to try. I'm going to try really hard. I've got to the end of the month to decide if I'm going to finish this book or not.
You better.
I know. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode, friends. We hope you learned something new today. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. Our YouTube episodes will upload on Thursdays, the day after the show airs, if you want to watch. And if you want your query letter and first 3 pages critiqued and read on air by us, send them to our email at twowritersinabar@gmail.com. Put query on air in the subject line. We will read them on a first come, first served basis. Remember, we are here to help, inspire, and celebrate. Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast is produced by Brava Media Group.